One of us is selling everything, and the other one selling quite a bit. So we're going to go over this, and we're going to go over market volatility, what we see coming, who's doing what, which should be no surprise to anybody. Who's who in this one? So I'm going to just kick it straight off to you, Mike. So we're talking about the overall markets in general, and what are you doing and why?
So I'm definitely selling, if not everything, most things.
Yeah.
I have some concerns.
Just some little ones. We're going to get into the concerns. What would stay if something does stay in your account?
If I've had something for quite some time, no, I take that back. I'm pretty much going to sell everything.
just straight to cash, and then
I'm going 100% cash.
And we'll get to timeframes and all that. But like, when are you making this move?
So I have actually already started selling calls against my shares with the full intention of having stuff called away. Now I know there's no guarantee that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if we do start seeing a downturn, I will just go ahead and start selling stuff. But for now, I'm just going to be selling some pretty aggressive calls, not in the money, but at the money calls.
Yeah. So we're talking like a 45 delta, higher, lower?
At least 40.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to let's bring up the S&P real quick.
Yeah, we just jumped right in. I'm selling.
Actually, I'm going to pull up the less zones. We're going to delete everything here, so it's just not. All right, so here's the S&P. We're at all-time highs. We continue to be at all-time highs. And now I will say, I've talked about this because we had some pretty funny opens. Like this was a Sunday open. We gapped down, sold off again. The following Sunday, and I've said it looks like somebody big is getting out of the market. They're just dropping it out there. And that's when I started selling. Now I've already let some of my Meta and Tesla go in the exact same route. I sold calls. Obviously, I could have held out a little bit more on the Meta because we just keep sending this thing up. So what are you seeing? Because right now when I look at this, right, so let's plead your case, because when I look at this, we're trending up, we're moving up, everything looks fine maybe to the naked eye.
So let me just preface this by saying I don't expect anyone to follow me. This is my own decision. I even told my group what I was doing before I started doing it, because I could be wrong. But here's what I'm seeing: we're at all-time highs in the S&P, the QQQ. I mean, a lot of stuff, right? If you look at something like a Palantir, I mean, it's got a PE of like 600 of something, like something ridiculous.
It had its first red day in a while, as a matter of fact. We got it here. And then
we've got everything at these all-time highs. Now, on the flip side, gold is at all-time highs.
It is. It's been on an absolute tear as well.
That tells me that this, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that screams confusion.
Yeah. So I've looked at this I try to look at it, from every angle. Is this a momentum trade? Are we buying the shiny stuff because we are afraid? And that's kind of what it looks like. Is where can I park my money? There's certainly some risk in these markets, and what are some safe stuff? Because also, along with gold, we've seen dividend stocks. There's some dividend payers out there that are just shooting up like they just announced world peace themselves. They got it all figured out.
Agreed. I've been watching some dividend stocks, thinking, I'll wait for them to come down a little bit more. Maybe rotate into those. But they're starting to go up. Like, there are some people, and when I say people, not retail. I'm talking about the big banks. There's some people parking money right now.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing people want is confusion. Like none of this it doesn't make any sense to me. And so I started having these thoughts a while. I mean, we've talked about the crash coming, and I thought maybe it was just going to be a nice grind down, which is healthy.
Yeah.
Given where things have been lately.
Yeah, and they happen. Those are normal
Yeah.
cycles.
But the more news that I've been reading and just other things that are coming out, whether it's the debt ceiling, being extended, and tax cuts that are coming through, and potential tariffs, which if the debt ceiling gets extended and those tax cuts come through, they're going to have to generate income some way, and those tariffs are going to be in full force.
Yeah.
Just news in general, from my perspective, it does not look good.
Right.
There are, I just read a thing today. There's over 10,000 layoffs in DC from the government.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just going to be a drop in the hat.
Yeah, we're just getting warmed up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're just starting to spin that wheel, and it's not even going full speed yet.
So what do you think about the play? Because here's where every time I think about this, something comes out and like just kind of confirms it. Because you know how sometimes the play is almost too obvious. There's other YouTubers that are now saying this. Now, I started talking about this back in September, November. I even said there's going to be a crash next year. This is normal. We'll find the leading excuse later. And then like as we get closer, because I've always said March, I've stuck with March. And, as we get closer, YouTubers are saying, we got like the news kind of lines up. And that's where I question things, is because usually everybody's wrong. And so is this the part where, a broken clock is right twice a day? Or is this just kind of a setup? Can we avoid? Like, those are questions that I have, So what do you think about just that in general?
It could be, right? However, I stay pretty up to date on news, and just digging in general. But what I keep coming back to is you can't have everything rocketing up like that. Gold, price, or stocks, bonds, all rocketing up right now. That just can't be sustainable. Even I saw an article from Paul Krugman. He's an economist who said we are getting ready to go into stagflation. And some of these things I'm starting to read more about after I had some of these thoughts.
Yeah, that was another thing that and I'll pull up here as I was looking for Mr. Warren Buffett.
Yeah, even Warren is selling off. Like, I think he sold
100% of his SPY position.
Yep. Yeah, he had two ETFs. Was it SPY and was it VOO? I think he sold 100% of those. He sold a ton of his Apple. I did read that. I think he's not really bought anything in the last few quarters. It's a net sell for the last few quarters. He's his old saying, be fearful when others are greedy.
Yeah, exactly. And we're definitely there right now. What else do we have? So you sent a couple articles. I'm jumping into this one. Passes budget blueprint with 4.5 trillion in tax cuts and steep spending reductions. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds like stimulus. We're saving money. We're doing good.
Yeah, not quite. There's two types. If the tax cuts weren't primarily for high wealth individuals, I think it'd be okay, because it's not the high wealth individuals who really spend money. It's the middle class who really can move the needle on spending. The ultra rich, there's not a whole lot of them to begin with, and they just don't spend the money. They spend a lot of money, but it's not compared to what the middle class does. Yeah,
and every time I just think about the middle class, that almost leads me into an AI speech where I'm like, they're going away.
Yeah. This is not that one. This is strictly about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
With my account.
Yeah, and I sold about 30% of my Meta and Tesla position. Because I rode Meta down to 90 in the last time. And I went nuts. I bought a whole bunch of it. Obviously I can pull up Meta right here. It pulled back today. One of the first red days. This is a weekly chart. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 months of just straight green. This is our first red in so long. I actually sold 680 calls back here, and the shares got called away. This thing's been on absolute tear. But from loading up at 90, selling here, I felt okay with that. And I just don't think
really okay with that.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It sucks. You have a trading account and an investment account, and it sucks being a trader talking about how, hey, here comes a pullback, here's this and that, and then your investment account, you just do what everyone tells you and leave it alone, and then you do that, and you just watch Bitcoin go down. I'm just like, I called out the Bitcoin crash, long before it happened. I was like, it's gonna hit. I said at the rate it's going to, we're probably gonna hit 100K, then we're gonna drop down to hopefully. I forget what I said, the exact numbers. End up dropping down to 20. Anyway, I had it the whole way down, because it's not something that I trade. And this time, I was like, I've seen enough that I'm confident enough that something is happening. There's just too much risk. There's too much exposure out there. And then, and bringing back up the NASDAQ really just kind of cemented this in when we had those just couple of Sundays back to back where it was just wrecked, so on the charts right now, we got this was a Sunday open, and this same right here just gapped down, sent it, ultimately held it kind of going sideways, and we just checked the box of all-time highs right now.
Right.
But seeing that, that was one of the things that just confirmed it for me. Like, hey, somebody's getting out, somebody's de-risking, and they have the more money than us, so what do they know? And I like to borrow just from their research, because people vote with their wallets. There's a lot of things they can push and publish online, but ultimately the money kind of tells me where everyone sits.
Right.
And then yeah, so we saw this, and then gold just took a hard left and just started really going up without looking back. So yeah, again, why are we buying all the safe stuff if everything's just as fine as everyone thinks?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll pull up the VIX here. The VIX would have you thinking the markets are asleep and everyone's just fine.
Yeah, that's a little nerve-wracking too.
Yeah, no one's buying up the volatility. So there's kind of a, because you're at the extreme of you're selling everything.
I am.
Okay, and then we have some other just perma bulls that everything's fine. We're at all-time highs, and technically they're the ones that are right because we're just trending up. We're trending up until we're not.
Right.
The red candles tend to strike kind of like lightning, out of nowhere, and then they suck. And usually the truth is somewhere in between. But I gotta say, I'm leaning on the on the crash side of things. I mean, I have for a while, but to the point now where I might actually sell a little bit more. So what are you gonna do with all your cash?
So I talked about this with the group,
mm-hmm.
And first things first, I could be wrong, right? So what do I do? I'm going to continue to earn income every week. I will still sell puts, running the wheel strategy. It'll just be a lot more conservative. I may go down to the 10 delta or the 15 delta if I'm feeling saucy on something, and not the 20 or 25. So I'll just continue to earn some income and just wait for something to tell me that it's either okay to start buying again, or just wait for some discounts. That's kind of the game plan. I'll take the tax hit because I like you. Well, we can't be 100% certain. I think I'm right.
Yeah. I mean, I've only ever talked about, this would be my fourth crash that I've talked about on YouTube, and all the other three I was spot on. So I got a great track record. So if I'm wrong this one time, it will annoy me. But eventually the streak comes to an end. But there's so much out there that just tells me so much that I worry it's too obvious.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not. These are what do I say? Real life things. I think unemployment's going to be huge coming up.
Yeah, and
unemployment, inflation.
Yeah. If so, here's what I'm thinking. If unemployment, we may not see it this first round. We're definitely going to see it by the second round.
Okay.
Like you said, the cuts are just getting started. I do think we're actually going to be going into some stagflation. So we're going to have high inflation, high unemployment, low growth. And so I think we've got some dark days.
Yeah. Personally, I hope so. Corporate greed, man, really, really bugs the crap out of me. And I just buy whatever I want. But I know they're just getting you. Like the cars I bought were overpriced, and it just Oh, it irks me. And everybody that just like, what really bugs me is I always call it, you got to pay to play kind of thing. It's just like, I'm stuck on the cars. You go to buy a car and it's so overpriced. But if you even think about saying like, nah, that's crazy, they have no problem saying, don't worry, someone else will come in right behind you. And they will, because like the public is the biggest problem and supporter of all this, because that's what feeds into all this. And I'm glad everyone's running it. I don't want to say it in a bad way, like I'm glad they're kind of running out of money and quit funding the stupid, like they just start spending like is it Gordon Ramsay, Dave Ramsey, not the chef?
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey says everyone's spending like Congress. Like we had the stimulus checks and people were making more in unemployment during the Rona crash. And then they just kind of got so used to that lifestyle that they just kept it up. And then they burned through their debt, they burned through their savings and then burned through credit cards. And I think we're kind of right at that tipping point. Everyone's kind of just, scratching pennies. What are they? Yeah, they're looking for change in the couch, like they're just running out. And then now we hit them with this everyone's laid off business.
Yeah.
And I think that might be, I think the camel's back is loaded,
and it's not just the laid off. It's not just the people getting laid off, right? Those spending cuts are going to have downstream effects, right? That money, don't get me wrong, the government is probably bloated. Well, absolutely is bloated. They need to audit. They need to do a lot of stuff, right?
Oh yeah. Auditing the, what are they going to audit in gold? It has
Fort Knox.
Yeah, Fort Knox hasn't been audited in 50 years, and we're going to go ahead and tack that on.
No. They actually audit that every year. I saw
okay.
Yeah, that's audited every year. However, regardless of there's not politics, what I'm saying is, yes, there's stuff that can be done, and they should be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But all this does have downstream effects, and so when you cut that much so fast, that's you're basically pulling that money out of the system.
Right.
And we're going to feel that.
Now that's you're talking more of the velocity of money side of things.
Yeah. Like the article just said that if they want to, not even the tax cuts, but they want to cut the actual budget, the actual spending.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just money that's not being injected into our economy.
Yeah.
So we're in for some trouble.
Okay. And then the one thing I've always said is, I'm thinking 2022 style, not Rona style. If we had to compare the crashes, you're leaning towards which one?
I'm kind of like I'm thinking a mix. I'm thinking so, and hear me out, and we'll figure out how to do this. We may start grinding down, but there's going to be a pivot point where some report will come out. Like, let's say it's the job reports, and we lost 100,000 jobs or 200,000 jobs. That's when I think we'll start seeing this really nosediving.
Okay, kind of right in the middle.
Yeah, I think it might grind down. It might start off, but I don't know how it's going to start. But I think there's going to be some acceleration and then cool off and then acceleration again. So yeah, kind of like in the middle. It won't be complete Rona style, but it won't be just a slow grind down.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see some plateau or some stair stepping down.
Which one do you think has a bigger effect? There's a job reports. What the big one coming out in March, unemployment, or April 2nd when the tariffs kick in.
So tariffs won't be felt right away. So Walmart might have been the canary.
Okay.
Today, or was it today or yesterday?
I'll pull it up right now. As a matter of fact, we will get to the bottom of it. Yeah, because they announced it was their guidance, right? Yeah, Walmart guided down. Now
that might be. I think what we're going to see is consumer spending start really dropping, and it'll be a combination with inflation actually going up. And I just saw that Japan had 4% inflation. They released those figures today.
Yeah, I saw. I'm trying to find.
I think I sent you that. I think I texted you that.
Yeah, because I've seen people the carry trade. What's that they were calling it? I've seen people talk about that again. Was Vizio publicly traded? What's Vizio's ticker?
Vizio is a Microsoft product.
No, they're TVs. The TV company.
Oh, Bet Vizio. Oh, I don't know.
Because Walmart's acquiring them, and I was kind of thinking that might be it as far as the money leaving the books might attribute some of this. But anyway, it's still a hit for Walmart.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty big drop today.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just like, as I was trying to find it, I was like, what is that? I could have sworn it's publicly traded. Yeah, so we would April 2nd, I think, is when tariffs are supposed to start. Do we price that in, and is there any surprise after it, or is it more of a maybe we price that in and we got to worry about retaliatory tariffs? Or
so whenever they were announced, I do think people thought that he was bluffing. He's not.
Yeah, see, I kind of thought he was, but the second I think most, not to get political, I think a lot of what Trump says is posturing and you can call it bluffing. It's meant for a reaction. But the second you say you're bluffing, then it's like you back him into a corner, and he's like, "No, we're doing it now." like you made this.
And based on what's going on right now, just internationally,
mm-hmm.
he's going to have to put them in place because people are going to start. Other countries are going to start putting them on us as a preemptive strike. Canada has already started to put stuff in place. And after some of the news I saw today, Europe, we've basically abandoned Europe. We're not playing nice with the world right now, and they're not going to play nice with us.
Yeah, I don't know. But they've never really played nice with us. I do agree with. Maybe this isn't market related, but what was it, something Trump said a while back? They're living like kings off of us, but we don't really see anything back from it. But I guess now we're getting into the weeds of opinions anyway.
You can edit this out, but
nope. This one's staying. Okay. I know we're not. I know what you're saying. Yeah. So it's what's a good analogy? It's not a he said she said kind of thing, but it's like brother and sister bickering back and forth.
So let's just talk about back to tariffs for a second, just on its face. The tax cuts, and so the tax cuts, those are going to have to be paid for somehow. You can't take. He's not going to be able to cut the budget enough to make up for the revenue that he's losing in tax cuts. You'd basically take the budget down to zero, which is just not going to happen.
Yeah, not functionally.
How do you make up that discrepancy? His favorite thing is tariffs.
Yeah,
he'll use that to try to make up the difference, and it won't be enough. So that's where the inflation is going to hit us.
Yeah. Okay, so you think it's more on that end more than the Doge dividend they're talking about?
The Doge dividend, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, the money they save, they want to give us 20%, like a stimulus check. You think that happened?
It's not going to happen.
I don't know.
If they send out more checks, it'll be deficit spending, and it'll just go right to our debt. It has nothing to do with what they're saving with Doge.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because the first thing, everyone's talking about now, it's a $5,000 check. And the first thing I thought when we did this was like, here comes the Rona round 2. Yeah. Like we're going to send inflation. Like good luck with real estate. Good luck with everything. Because if you don't own a house already, you're never going to buy a house. Like
all that just screams bad idea. And what you just described is also inflationary. So it's just it's just bad news all around.
Okay, final question, because this is where now I've talked about the crash, and because I'm not short yet, and now with my group, and to be clear, guys, you guys want to check it out, we're under the same umbrella, same Patreon, but he has his stream, I have my stream, so that's why we talk about our group. It's the same people, but I told everybody I haven't bought puts yet. And I'm waiting because the market's at all-time highs, and I'm just stalling as long as I can. One giant red day, I'm in them. I'm trying to wait as long as I can, because I do think we continue this grind up, because I think we're right in the volleyball spike now. Like you send it up first before you just spike it down. Mm-hmm. So the longer I can wait, either the higher my strike price gets and I spend the same, or things just get cheaper as far as buying puts. I want to buy some August puts. But if I'm wrong, then I just kind of never get in, because I'm going to wait for the charts to turn around, and then I'm going to hop on short. So how are you going to decide when you're wrong? Because sometimes you're not wrong. You're early. I thought it was going to happen in March. It ended up being in April or June. So what signs are you looking for that's full on, or like maybe you're wrong? Like what's the time frame there? Ballpark.
I'll give it 6 months.
Okay, 6 months from March.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yes. Let's just say March 1st.
Okay.
If we don't see something in 6 months, we'll reevaluate. But I'll be reevaluating the whole time, right? Because
Yeah.
as long as the signals, gold, everything going up at once, gold going up, stock market going up, bonds going up. As long as that is continuing, that just tells me that it's all confusion.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is, and that's what, man. I was gonna say maybe even best case scenario, we park this thing and the markets go sideways for the whole year.
If we started doing that, I'd be happy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
As an option seller, that's a dream scenario.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll be like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah. I just don't.
And now I've got the cash to just go crazy.
Yeah, do whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah, because I thought about selling cash secured puts too. I do a lot of that now anyway. But the one thing my strategy has changed on, because I love selling the 20 delta calls on shares that I have, just playing the numbers game. What I don't want to do is sell the 10 delta or something like that, because I'll end up collecting less. And when the giant red day happens, you're just instantly run over and you're going to own those shares. You mess around with that at the top, you basically just bought shares at the top. Anything I sell options against, puts against, I don't mind owning. But the one thing I'm going to wait for might even be Wednesday. We saw this a lot with my Mara position. I would wait for a big green day and then I would sell calls. So that's what I'm going to do is, as far as before I sell any puts, because it's usually a Friday, Monday kind of trade, like if I'm not in, I got cash. Let's put it to use. It's not just sitting there. This one, I'll wait. Once the move has been made and I see a giant surge to the downside, then I'll sell the 20 deltas. On Monday, that 20 delta would be right 50 strikes higher and in the money by the time it shows up.
Yeah.
So I'll wait for the oversold area and then sell puts. And that's kind of where I'm at. That's how I'm going to try to avoid assignments in general on the way down, at least.
Yeah, I may have to follow you a little bit more and coordinate some of the plays.
Yeah. I'm in no rush to buy things when things are selling off. I let the sellers do their things, because the more they go at it, the cheaper I get to buy things later. So, and then I guess my plan, I have a buy it now price. I always call it the rain or shine event. Like I don't care what's going on. If it's not radiation involved, then I'm buying at this price. So if we get there, regardless if it goes lower or not, I'm buying. So I'll start looking for those prices and
I do the weeklies on it. Our strategy is a little bit different where I'm pretty much like I'm a metronome, right? On Fridays I sell my stuff and then I collect it during the week, buy it back, sell them again on Friday. What I might do is actually specifically look for red stocks on Friday and not necessarily worry about the premium so much. It's try to find those ones that have really taken a dive on that specific day. Is it something that I think is going to rebound, whatever, and then maybe just make a play on those.
Yeah, because as long as you get that oversold bounce or any kind of just they stall out for a day, even creating a bear flag, as a put seller, that's just 100%, or less than 100% because I don't usually, in that scenario I won't be rocking things to 100%. I'll be closing things at 80 and around there. But
over the weekend could be, right? So if it's a good red day on Friday, sell it on Monday, collect your 50%, you're done for the week.
Yeah. Just take the money and go. And this is going to be, and we'll end it here. In every strategy, there's ups and downs. There's times to be aggressive, strike while the iron's hot. And if you are someone who sells cash secured puts, when the market's trending down, the iron's not hot. I think that's when you chill out for a second. So you make a little bit less because you are you're not as willy nilly like like you're selling puts and calls every week. Almost like clockwork. You even said you're a metronome. Not to say you're just shooting from the hip, but it's a lot more consistent. When you're trending down like this, and maybe you don't want to get shares, you go a week or two where I didn't sell that much this week because you just didn't feel like owning, Palantir at $110 as it drops to 40, and that's where it's going. It better drop to 40.
I believe it will.
Full stop. What about HIMS?
HIMS will drop some. I actually want to get some HIMS, so I'm kind of hoping it does drop some.
Yeah, I'm annoyed at how high it is. $66. That's stupid. It's just another thing though. Like as I'm looking at some of these tickers, and I said that was gonna be our last thing. Yeah, they just like, what are you guys doing up there? Like.
Yeah, the valuations are not based on reality. In fact, I want to do a video with you on Tesla. Maybe next week.
Okay.
Went through all the financial reports. It's not looking great.
Oh yeah, no. Automotive's going to get absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
And Tesla is an automotive company.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah. But I am keeping an eye on their Grok. Grok is growing. We'll end it here, but I will leave it at this. So make sure you guys are subscribed because we are going to talk about Tesla. Because the one thing between him and Sam Altman, Sam he offered to buy OpenAI, whether he's just setting it up because they're trying to get out of the not for profit, so some say Elon is just setting the price, but he fired back and said, no, it's not for sale. And then he offered to buy, like, not only did he say, no, it's not for sale, thanks for the offer, he offered to buy Twitter for $9 billion. So there's just that little backhanded slap. Yeah. And the one thing I like about Elon is this is where we agree on a lot of things, like the pettiness, like, okay, fine, I'll make something so much better than you ever could. So, like, I feel like Grok might start to take off, which we'll cover more on that. But because he couldn't buy OpenAI and gave him that little backhanded, I can't call it a compliment, a remark, we'll buy Twitter for something dirt cheap, he's gonna run him over.
Yeah, it was not a compliment.
It's happening. All right. Well, if you guys are interested, make sure you check out the Patreon. It will be the top pinned comment down below. Mike is tier 2. I am tier 3, obviously, because I'm better. That's why my head's bigger in the videos. I'm just kidding. Make sure you check it out. But first and foremost, guys, subscribing is free, and you will get all the other videos in the meantime. So we'll wrap it up here. You guys have a good one.